So, any codec moments from you, Snake?
Hey everyone, this is Ephraim Scufflegrit. Welcome to episode 0 of CODEC Moments podcast. I'm joined here by a man who needs no introduction, Flash Medallion. How you doing today?
I'm doing very good, Scuff. How you going?
Good. Exhausted, but good all over.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Granted, you just got off work. Obviously, this is episode 0. Guys might be wondering, why not episode 1? Basically, just wanted to give you a rundown of, what we'd be doing on here, kind of some ideas for the future, basic plans for the podcast, and kind of introduce ourselves so you guys can, be on the subreddit, get a little bit more of an idea of who we are. I'm Ephraim Scufflegrit. You might have seen me pop up with Throwback Theory Thursday on the subreddit. I started Metal Gear Solid with the demo disc, Metal Gear Solid 1, that came with Pizza Hut pizza. I think you started with that too, didn't you, Flash?
Yep, that was me. I think it was a different demo that we got here in New Zealand, but same story, yeah.
Oh, really? What was yours?
Well, our one ended when you meet the DARPA chief, but I've talked to a lot of people from the States who say that their one only went up to the ventilation shaft from the heliport.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting, which was really crazy. Like the first time I played the real game, suddenly the DARPA chief died, got the conversation, and then it's all brand new territory, which was freaky. So it's a massive cliffhanger, obviously. This guy dies of a heart attack and no one knows what's going on, and then it's like, end of demo. Yeah, hooks were in, obviously.
I feel like that was kind of like the smart way to go for it, because, you guys got kind of like a reason to come back, like, what happened here? This guy just randomly died of a heart attack. What's this game about? When I played it,
yeah,
this is like a really cool heliport, and the controls seem cool. Should be a pretty...
Yeah, so there's definitely, there's a mystery going on straight away just from playing the demo, which was neat.
Is that kind of what got you hooked?
I think it's a huge part of it, yeah, like everything's, all realistic and all the sneaking and all that stuff that's all new at the time, when it came out. And there's also what seemed like a pretty adult movie-like story going on with, there's this mystery. What's happened? There's a heart attack and people are kind of acting shady and what's going on, and then, boom, end of demo.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like I didn't get the the mystery of the story and everything. I could kind of tell right off the bat that, the story was going to be something special. With the codecs that, started right off the bat. And, you go back and look at the codec screen now and it's, just kind of like shitty animation. But at the time, you get fully featured faces.
Yeah.
At the time, the PlayStation 1 was, doing a lot of live action acting too.
That's right.
Yeah, which I kind of missed, to tell you the truth. That was kind of...
A little bit. I've seen a lot of shit, but I remember, was it called Apocalypse, an old Bruce Willis game where they had just chucked him in front of the green screen for the cutscenes and did all that sort of thing, yeah. We're already way off schedule. This is fantastic.
I know, right? Yeah, so... Going according to the list, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, I think I just did. You guys might have seen me making the occasional post or comment on the subreddit. Yeah, what else to say? I've been a fan since that demo disc back in '98. I joined the subreddit, I'm going to say 3 years ago. And it was a real cool place even back then, and just started shooting the shit with people about Metal Gear Solid.
What was kind of going on with the series when you first...
So... 4 was definitely out, had been released. I think what sticks in my mind is Peace Walker never really came up. I remember I played it late. I got a PSP for super cheap, 2010-ish, I'm going to say. So it wasn't really a topic of discussion. The big happening I remember was Rising coming out, and there was lots of, this sucks, it's an action game, it's not Metal Gear Solid or whatever. So there's a lot of discussion about that. Probably the first thing I remember.
I was way late to Peace Walker myself. I was probably 6-7 months after, it came out, which was different for me because, I was release date for Metal Gear Solid 2. I was release date for 3.
Yeah, for sure.
I went with my buddies to get 4. And then when Peace Walker was coming out, I wasn't the biggest fan of portable ops. And so I was kind of thinking it's going to be portable ops 2, and just kind of avoided the hell out of the thing.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer and just thinking, it's a real shame that I'm never going to get to play this game. And then I kind of just put it aside and never thought about it. Yeah, and then had done some reading and decided, hey, why not? Sounds good.
I don't even have an excuse. I had a PSP with a whole 5 games. So, the PSP, it was kind of dead to me at the time when Peace Walker came out. And, when I saw the trailers, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, it's, not going to be Metal Gear Solid 5, which he actually wanted to call Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid 5, but Konami was like, nah, not so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about naming the game seems to be such a big deal with Konami, which is probably an in-depth conversation for another day, but seems to be a bit of a recurring issue, eh?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be setting aside like a whole day for Metal Gear Solid 2, I'm sure. There's just so much gold there.
Yeah.
When I joined, I think I was lurking like right around when the Moby Dick Studios thing was, like first started.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and my first post on the subreddit was I had heard like the reveal trailer where Ishmael's telling Big Boss to get on his feet, and I thought it sounded like Kiefer Sutherland, and I got onto the subreddit and posted that, and tensions were high, obviously. Kind of got into it a little bit. And I think you were actually one of the people that I had a little tiff with.
Probably.
I mean, I think everybody at that point.
I'm going to be straight up. I think just about every main poster, people who post heaps, I've probably had an argument with them when they've shown up. I could go through a whole lot of names. Oh, maybe not an argument, but a very in-depth conversation. But at the time, I didn't really follow Kiefer Sutherland. I never watched 24. I kind of knew who he was. So everyone's saying, oh, it's Kiefer Sutherland. And I was like, okay, I guess I got to take your word for it.
I'll bite.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much the same way. I mean, with doing Throwback Theory Thursday and just going through theory after theory after theory after theory, and then sometimes I admit I'm a little bit dickish when I jump in there.
It's hard not to be dickish. It's really hard not to be dickish. It's nice that we're doing it in a little thread and not jumping into these people's forums and finding their posts from 5 years ago going, ha ha ha, you were wrong.
Which is exactly what I'm doing with Throwback Theory Thursday.
But they're not seeing it. It's just a little thing. I just find it fun, just going line by line and going, man, that was awful. But I've made some awfully terrible wide of the mark stuff, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all guessing.
It's part of the series. It's part of the fun. It's just trying to figure out what exactly the fuck is going on with this whole thing.
Especially knowing that you're never going to be able to get it. There's this idea that there are clues scattered around, but that's never really been the case. It's not like you couldn't sit down and watch a Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer and go, oh my god, it's a switcheroo. You never would have picked that out.
Yeah, exactly.
And Snake Eater, they just spelled out Big Boss. It wasn't really a secret. But yeah, this myth is perpetuated that we can hunt down ideas and find the secret code, and it's still fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, even before I started doing Throwback, I was oh, maybe I can figure something out from the trailer, yada, yada, yada. And then after going back, especially through all the Metal Gear Solid 3 stuff, I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to figure out shit.
Yeah. It's still fun. The trailers talk about ideas, and we're getting, say, this whole language thing. You can sit down and go, well, this is what they're talking about. How does this affect the rest of the series? Stuff we already know. That broad stuff is cool. But trying to go, oh, well, I think in Act 3, the following character is going to appear and he's going to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely agree with you, and I think the more obscure things is what I definitely get a kick out of discussing more than anything else, because I mean, there's just so much depth to the series as far as themes and messages and stuff go. I mean, you can play each game 5 times and pick up something new, whether it be...
Oh, absolutely.
It's great, the character development, the symbolism, everything. You can pick up something new every time, and that's what I think I'm looking forward to with the whole voice theme in particular for 5.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, I think I've picked up that you're an avid reader and you like to do the in-depth kind of analysis, and stop me if I'm completely off the mark.
I have a go. I do my best.
For sure. And let's see, got to refer to the master list here. Do you want to go ahead and do the subreddit rundown?
Yeah, why not? We're halfway there. So I thought another fun feature might be just to have a squiz through what's kicking around on the subreddit at the moment. So I'm sitting here with top from the last week, and I've done this a few times lately, and it's interesting. Considering what people say, oh, there's a million posts about this and that. Usually it's just really highly voted little image posts. Most of them are cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking at that fantastic little cartoon of Ocelot trying to shoot out the cigar. That was brilliant. That's genuinely a genuinely good joke and well executed. I love it.
I very rarely actually laugh out loud when I'm looking at something on the internet. I'll give like a hearty exhale through my nostrils or something.
Yeah.
But this post, I actually laughed out loud, and top points to whoever posted that. Who was that? Let's see here.
Albertuni.
I'm going to butcher this.
That's the fun part about the internet, is butchering people's usernames.
Yeah. Albertuni or Albatono or whatever.
Albertuno.
Congratulations.
Whoever they are, wherever they found it, fantastic.
Top post of the week. Congratulations.
By a pretty big margin, too. 1,700 points. It's quite a lot for a tiny little corner of the internet.
Yeah, and then, just 2 posts down, you're 596 with the Solid Snake Big Boss name mix-up.
Which is a fair call. Again, it doesn't bug me hugely, but it's a bit of a recurring joke that nobody can tell the difference or get the difference between Big Boss and Solid Snake.
Continuously perpetuated by IGN.
They're probably doing it on purpose at this point.
That's what I mean. Like, after the 5th or 6th mistake and seeing like all of the raging comments.
Yeah. Guaranteed hits. We'll just call it everything Solid Snake.
I think that's like maybe part of the point. That like this is going to piss off so many people that they're going to send it to so many people, and hundreds of people will just come in like a blind white hot rage. These 2 characters named.
How dare you!
Yeah, this is sacrilege.
We got Metal Gear Jurassic Park. I thought that was good. And again, it's a bit of a dead horse joke already, but well played. Snake pose, get some Metal Gears in there. And
that's the new figure, right? The Metal Gear Solid 2 one?
Oh, look, I'm going to stay out of those conversations. I know nothing about the toys. I pay very little attention to them.
I always figured you had absolutely nothing, or like this big room like set aside with just like, intricate shit in the world.
I'm a married man. I have a single feature shelf for my Metal Gear Solid stuff.
I'm not going to lie.
I got all my...
I like bring down like some of my shit if I like bring home a woman. I'm like, maybe I should move some of the shit to the office.
Mine could pass as an art shelf, like it's all the covers on display. And hiding in the corner is a little cyborg ninja statue that my brother got me, like, I'm going to say 8 years ago for my birthday, which I like. I never would have bought myself one, but if I had to pick one, I probably would have gone, it's the Metal Gear Solid 2, it's the Olga Ninja.
Nice.
Which, yeah, it's probably not hugely popular, but again, it kind of sums up MGS2 in a really cool way.
I loved those McFarlane toys back in the day, though. Like, I would always go into, I think EV Games was, like, still a thing in the United States when I was looking at those guys. And I mean, like, it was either, a video game after I'd saved up a little bit or a figure. So I'd always go into the store, and it was always, like, the Metal Gear Solid figures I'd just, like, look at with lust in my eyes. Like, oh, man, these look, like, so realistic. It's just like in the game. Now that I'm, like, seeing some of like the Play Arts Kais and stuff, I like look back at the McFarlanes. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, those Play Arts Kai do look really cool. I've got to say, I like looking at photos of them. I don't think I would put one up somewhere, but hey, it could be proven wrong. I got a McFarlane Assassin's Creed toy for Secret Santa just over Christmas. They read it Secret Santa. Some guy's like, hey, you're on Assassin's Creed, and I think the Ubisoft office was across the road from his house, so. Oh, nice. I've got a little, yeah, it was, and some chocolate, some kettle.
What assassin is it?
It's Arno, the new guy.
Oh, right on.
And it came with a code, so I could put the special costume that was in and play it on the game, which was really neat for 5 minutes.
Yeah. I do think that kind of stuff now is cool. That they're starting to do some more of that stuff, like kind of utilizing technology and the internet. Some of you have seen this, an article that I wrote for a marketing agency, and it was focusing on co-creation, which is, kind of getting, your customer more involved in the actual experience of the product. And I brought up Ground Zeroes, and I thought, one of the coolest things, and, this just came up recently in the last week with the PC version of Phantom Pain, is that they're, using the internet and using technology and coming right to the fans and saying stuff, like, hey, I know you guys play Ground Zeroes, you might have had a complaint or two. Let us know what that is, and we'll fix it for the PC version of Phantom Pain.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic work. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Konami, about like the recent this or that, but I mean that's just brilliant marketing.
They're really setting the bar for PC relations. Like, it's not something that really affects me. If someone pisses off the PC gamer crowd, you hear about it no matter what. And so I've got a pretty good idea of what's going on. Konami really seem like they're paying attention, which is strange on a whole lot of levels, but really cool.
I thought so too, because I mean, even in just Japan itself, PC gaming isn't really, a huge concentration.
No.
Consoles even aren't, their top thing. The casino games and the arcades and stuff are, probably and Konami's biggest thing. So, I mean, it was really shocking to see not only a Japanese developer, but one that hasn't really done too much at all with the PC. Just, they're kind of leading the charge. I mean, I haven't seen any of the other major developers, coming right into every facet of social media. I saw them on the subreddit, Twitter, everywhere. I mean, it's groundbreaking, and it's just such a weird company to be doing it.
Yeah, I think that's the advantage of that LA studio. They've been using that LA studio to say, do whatever the hell Western people do, get in on that. And they seem like they've had quite a bit of leeway to really work that marketing, PR, and customer engagement thing going on. And it works. It works really well.
Yeah, definitely, I agree, and I think that's kind of the smart way to do it. Is instead of, because I mean, I've seen so many other, not even just in the video game industry, but companies operating in one country, assuming that when they move operations into another country, that it'll all just work the same as at home. So I'll be saying to the LA offices, like, hey, you guys live in the Western world, you know way more about the market than we do. More about the gaming industry than we do over there. You guys just do your thing. And I thought that was brilliant by them.
And at the risk of fanboying, that was Kojima Productions LA. That wasn't just Konami. That's something he went and did. So
almost on like completely his own.
Interesting.
Too. Greatly going to miss his contributions. But I mean, with the whole Kojima Konami thing, I was assuming that he was pretty much done anyways. I'm really sad to lose Hills, but at the same time, I'm kind of ready for him to kind of spread his wings and give us something else that's just mind-blowing.
Totally. And it's a good excuse too. Like, I'm assuming, it's safe to assume he's not going to have the rights to Metal Gear Solid. There's none of that shit hanging over him. People can't say, "Oh, make us a new Metal Gear." It's like, well, I can't.
Yeah.
So that's it. And just do his thing. At the same time, possibly it means he can't do a Snatcher or another ZOE or whatever, which is a shame. But God damn it, man! Let the man just do what he wants. Let him come up with something. I'll be right there waiting for it.
I wouldn't mind seeing him doing a movie. The
Metal Gear Solid movie?
Oh, I don't know about necessarily Metal Gear Solid. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would go to see that. I don't have I'll look forward to it. Wrong. I'll watch each trailer with bated breath, and I'll be there.
Oh, sure.
For the first showing that I can go to. That being said.
I don't have high hopes. I don't think there's a point to a Metal Gear Solid movie unless you're going to get really fucking crazy with it. If you're going to shake up the idea of a movie the way that, Metal Gear Solid is shaking up games. So that's a tough ask, and I can't see it happening.
Yeah, because, a lot of the magic is, the story's my favorite thing, the cutscenes, the exposition, everything, but a lot of the magic of Metal Gear Solid is the fourth wall break and the gameplay. And putting the player in the actual universe of the game. So trying to translate that to a movie, I don't really see how that's going to work. Not to mention too the length of the damn things. To actually get across the point, we're going to have to pitch up like Lord of the Rings and make Metal Gear Solid. Jesus Christ, Metal Gear Solid 4 would be 6 movies alone.
There would be multiple seasons of a TV show. Really, it would be a catch of taking a short story, or what the book equivalent of a short story would be, and turning that into a film would be the best bet. I don't even know what that would be. It might be a good way of skipping the remake aspect, just to a Metal Gear movie. One movie like that. It's hasn't got a lot behind it. You could just pad it as you had to, and who knows. But
yeah, I could see a TV, like you just said, a TV show. I would be fine with that. I would have much higher hopes for a Metal Gear Solid TV show than I would a condensed, max 3-hour movie out of it. Because, that's a lot of, Kiefer Sutherland talked about this when he was talking about 24, how a lot of the writers and directors and even actors are kind of figuring out that if you want to tell a really in-depth story, TV is actually kind of becoming the best medium for it, because you can stretch out the character development, you can, for longer, and
if you look at, say, a writer like Stephen King, all of his best movies came from his short stories. But when you go into something bigger and more sprawling, a movie just can't do it. Metal Gear Solid make a much better series.
It's Avi Arad making it, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of not having high hopes for the Metal Gear Solid movies.
It seems so strange.
Yeah. And it does too. Like, I wonder if they're actually. Do you think they're still going through with it?
I couldn't comment. It sounds like they're still going. We haven't heard that they're not. But just movie production in general, like when you announce, we're working on a script, that's a 2-year gap or a year-long gap to go, we've been greenlit, or we're being investigating the idea of making a movie. I'm going to shut up until they show me a trailer.
Yeah, even an announced trailer. I mean, like I said, I'll be foaming at the mouth to go see it, but I'll be foaming at the mouth knowing that I'm probably going to hate it.
Maybe they could go a really good route and do it as a full-on shitty B-movie. I'd pay to see that, and I'd probably see it a few times if they really doubled down on the cheese. It would annoy people, but I think if you got a good sense of humor about the series, it could be fun.
I was just about to say, like, let's be completely real and honest with ourselves here. A lot of the dialogue and actions in Metal Gear Solid is, like, top-of-the-line, first-class French cheese.
Yeah, it's pulp at best, a lot of it. But that's fun. It's very pulpy on the surface, and it still manages to get at some cool stuff behind that. But if you're just going to sit down and watch it, you've got put up with a lot of shit. That's where I was going.
Sure, and I think like a lot of it's kind of self-aware of itself in that respect. Like a lot of the times, it knows it's being like kind of corny. I mean, I hate to bring up like Twin Snakes, but it was almost like, because a lot of people complain about the cinematics in Twin Snakes, if they're over the top, and they are. I mean, Snake does a bloody backflip off of a flying missile. But
that was so cool. That was so cool.
Yeah, 13-year-old me thought it was the coolest shit he'd ever seen in his life.
Yeah, man. I can see you're butchering a classic here, and they did. But of all the ways to do it, why not? You're never going to match up to it, to the original, in a serious way. So why not just double down on the ham?
Yeah, go big or go home. But
exactly, yeah.
I almost saw it as like an exaggeration or like a mockery of the series. Because I mean, if you look at some of the cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid 2, they're not as over the top as Snake doing a backflip off of a missile or anything. But
nothing close.
Yeah, let's gotta be honest with ourselves. But there is, like with a lot of the stuff is Vamp, dodging the knives and running on water, and I get that's a lot of his abilities or nanomachines, depending on how you want to look at it. But like, I almost felt like Twin Snakes was kind of like a mockery of some of like the over the top things in Metal Gear Solid, so I can kind of appreciate it for that.
Yeah,
at least that's what I tell.
I mean, and
play it.
There's still cool over the top moments. I mean, one of my favorites still to this day is Solidus versus the Rays.
Oh,
that's amazing!
Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's a very straight-laced character as well. Solidus doesn't really take a lot of shit. He's kind of just doing his thing, and he goes, "He's fucking robots,
stupid machines,
fucking robots," and he gets up and just demolishes them. It's really neat.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that like one of I'm not the biggest fan of Rising, and I was actually going to save that for a future episode because I know you really like Rising, so I thought that would be like a cool kind of discussion to have. But before diving too much into that for another episode, I thought it was interesting that one of the biggest complaints for Rising is that at the beginning you see Raiden basically take on a Metal Gear Ray, no problem. And you'll see the same people praising Metal Gear Solid 2, where Solidus took down 8 Metal Gear Rays with a.
Well, he didn't lift them up.
Yeah, true, he didn't fling them by the tail into a fucking building or anything like that.
But I love that in Rising, and I think they put that up front for a very good reason. Raiden just completely beating the shit out of a Ray is one of the very first kind of badass moment you get, and that's a very straightforward, we are stepping up here. If you want to get off the train, now's the time to do it, because it's only gonna continue from this point on. Yeah. I liked it. I had to smile about that.
Oh yeah, and I think you're right about that. I definitely see that's kind of like a warning, yo guys, this is fucking crazy. This is not Metal Gear Solid. We're gonna fuck up buildings and Metal Gears, and he's gonna have superhuman strength. Just letting you know now.
Yeah.
And it's not that I thought that Rising was a terrible game. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing it. I had a blast with it, but that's a discussion we'll save for another day for sure.
Oh, at the end of the day, it's not going to appeal to everybody, and that's what makes it great for people who like it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's something fun about being in a niche, fan of something. I mean, even with how insanely successful Metal Gear Solid is, I do feel like we as fans are still a little bit in kind of like a niche corner with it.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. I was having this discussion just recently on the subreddit, actually, but it's big, but yeah, it really is. Like, the difference between people who know what Metal Gear Solid is and the people who could tell you about it, even at a broad level, it's almost a cultural thing to say, oh, what the fuck is happening in Metal Gear Solid? I've got no idea. That's kind of its touch point.
And I agree, and I think, with the subreddit, we've been seeing like a lot of people who know who Metal Gear Solid, or know what Metal Gear Solid is, coming in saying like, "Hey, I've heard about this game for the past 28 years. Still don't really know dick about it. Where should I start to kind of get familiar with the series before I jump into it?" And I do feel insanely sorry for these people, especially recently, that they want to get Phantom Pain on release date, and they also want to go through all of the games.
Yeah, you're running out of time on that one, eh?
Yeah. Godspeed, dude.
And the other one I find is people who go, I just played Metal Gear Solid 4 and I don't get it. It's like, well, welcome to the party. Like, that was everybody. We've gone back and played it, 3 times, 4 times and started trying to piece it together. This isn't, I can't think of a derogatory comparison on top of my head. But yeah, it's not just, oh yeah, okay, that's the story. It's, what the fuck? That makes no sense. I need to work that one out. And that's part of the fun. Oh,
yeah, definitely. And I think, the game's been out, 6-7 years or something like that, and people are
oh, yeah.
Like, what the hell? And there was a thread that it either came up today or yesterday. I've been up forever, so my days are kind of bleeding together. And, there was a question about why did Naomi go back to Liquid?
Yeah.
And I started typing out a response, and then I kept backspacing. And then I'd start typing again, and then I'd backspace, and I eventually just settled on, I don't really know, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, in my response, I started typing out everything leading up to it to remind myself. And then I got to the end, and I was like, yeah, I don't know either. Here's a guess. And Floral Cunt made a really good point on his podcast recently, too. Like, I think it's physically impossible to keep the entire game and everything in your head at one point. Like, I often find I have to go back to first principles a little bit and go through it again, especially talking about, say, Ocelot and Solidus around about the time Metal Gear Solid 2 and who's ordering who to betray who and who's working for who. Yeah, even on a monthly basis, sometimes I'm like, got to go back to the start, walk my way through it, just to keep it all, yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times I've gone into YouTube and typed in Metal Gear Solid 2 cutscenes and tried to find a specific one to be all right, now what the hell was going on there? I know Ocelot was, now we know he was working for Big Boss the whole time, but what does that mean in the context of Metal Gear Solid 2? Because in Metal Gear Solid 1, he was helping Solidus, and the Patriots didn't want Shadow Moses to happen. And then Ocelot was a part of that, and then in Metal Gear Solid 2, he takes back the ray, and blah, 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 blah. It's absolutely, Ocelot, just as one character alone in this entire saga, he embodies the confusion of the entire series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can get away with it a little bit by, if you ever run into a problem with Ocelot's motivation, why is he doing that? Because of the 5 other people he's working for. You can kind of say, oh, well, he was trying to blend in. That's what I do.
Yeah, it's a very quick, good Band-Aid fix to any question classic Ocelot.
Right. Okay.
No, sorry. What do you think of Troy Baker, speaking of Ocelot?
I have no issues. He sounds pretty good. Yeah. I'm not excited. Oh, hey, yeah, there you go. That was an excellent thing. I will say, though, that what snuck up on me was when I got to play it. I'm still bragging about that. But I died a few times, and one time I stopped, and I'm used to kind of skipping past it, and I realized I was getting Ocelot doing the snake. He did a great job of it.
Yeah, I saw that just 10 minutes before I jumped on here with you to do this podcast, was that comment. I was like,
It's a good litmus test. If anybody can do that, which is an easy place to fail. If you can do that, snake, then you've probably got something to you.
And that's something
I'm not going to do it.
The hell no. Something I wanted to pick your brain about too was being at E3. You and the other people that went gave us an awesome write up on the sub about the gameplay and what you guys did. But I kind of wanted to pick your brain about what actually going there was like, and actually, how did it feel to know, not actually playing Phantom Pain, but how did it feel to know that you were holding a controller that was actually physically playing Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain?
I skipped over that. I either got it out of the way beforehand. It was all business when we got into that room, It was all business.
Sure.
It was neat. I spent a half second going, oh, this is cool. And it was literally a half second. And then I got stuck into it. Yeah, a lot of people said, hey, you guys did great write-ups, blah, blah, blah. It's worth pointing out that we don't have word limits. These other guys are writing for magazines and online sites, and they got to keep it in an article. We had a lot of luxury in that we can just go and go and go and go, and no one's going to censor us or cut us off. So, yeah, I just tried to focus on the stuff that couldn't be picked up by not playing it. There's so many questions and so many stuff I wish I had have thought of, trying to hold up a guard who doesn't speak English and tell him to get down. I never thought about that, so I wish I'd have done that. But really, it was just poking holes in the wall. And part of it's good because it's preserved that experience for me when I get to buy the game and play it. Mm-hmm. I think I'm still going to get that rush of, hey, I'm doing it, I can take my time. Whereas sitting down in there, it's like, how can I be as much use as possible to whoever's going to have to read the shit that comes out of my mouth when I get home?
I want to try everything. Now, did you go through the intro cutscenes and everything? Did you get on the screen?
I skipped them. Skipped them. I did.
Did you skip them to stop yourself from spoiling them, or do you want to just fit as much gameplay into it as possible? Yeah,
a little of column A, a little column B. I kind of wish I'd watched that first cutscene in case it was different, but apparently it wasn't. Or that different. Ocelot had sunglasses. That was neat. And then I got my iDroid tutorial. I'm like, I can figure this out. I skipped that. But it seems like there's a bit of information in there too. So yeah, I get to sit down when I buy the game and watch it. So that's nice to still be able to look forward to that. What pisses me off is a cutscene played when I finished the mission, and I thought it was a trailer, a trailer for the game. I don't know why I thought that in hindsight. I thought it doesn't make sense because we're playing the real game. I just skipped it. And we kind of wandered off. And then Yong was saying there's a cutscene at the end. I was like, oh, crap.
Bollocks.
Bollocks. Yeah, exactly.
So we don't know. I can't remember for the life of me if any of the other articles or anything mentioned this. But so we don't know for sure if the chopper crash caused the coma, or is that pretty much out the window now?
I haven't seen much about it. I'm sure I read someone said, yeah, it's straightforward. Which is funny because we are planning this big survey, and I noticed half the survey is a bunch of questions about, do you think the chopper crash caused the coma? And that was embarrassing to read, to be honest. I'm like, we're going to have to quietly remove that.
Yeah, when I was seeing all this, I was like, shit, we got to rework so much of that.
It's funny how much changes in 6 months though.
Yeah, and in just a matter of minutes too. With the articles coming out around the same time, and then the new trailers and stuff, I was like, that's at least half of that survey project we've got going on that's just completely dicked now.
Yeah, but on the plus side, there's a lot more questions.
And I was just about to say that too, especially regarding Skullface.
You reckon?
Oh, there's definitely more questions we can ask. I don't know how much my opinion on the matter's changed as far as the new trailer and everything goes. But I know there's a lot more questions that people are asking.
Yes, that's true. I don't think necessarily the right questions are being asked. They're fun questions, but my vibe from that whole trailer was we're just deliberately being shown some stuff to make you go, what? How did that work? Yeah, and it's going to have a really obvious thing, like the skull face popping up. I struggle to see that as being some kind of big supernatural twist. I think he just pops up. I like the idea that he dropped his hat, but I'm willing to
I can't remember who said that, but that
No, neither. I wish I could. I would credit you if I could.
for sure, because that was another, like I said before, I don't often laugh out loud, but that was one of the ones. I think it might have been Tony, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to say, hey, Tony, good job, but whoever said that was magnificent.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole take on the thing is, I think, okay, on the screen, I think, yes, he did appear, but I don't necessarily think that means the whole Tyler Durden theory is true. I really don't buy into that personally. If anything,
Nah.
yeah. If he did kind of phase into frame, the way I see it is that, like, we know that Big Boss is kind of unstable and he's moving towards villainy. The way I took that is that he saw Skullface, and as fucked up as he was, he's kind of starting to see himself mirror that. And we've been told from the start, with the Fox and XOF, and from Fox, 2 Phantoms were born, and so on and so forth, that Skullface and Big Boss will most likely kind of mirror each other in a way. And what I took from the trailer was that Big Boss is kind of seeing that, and he might be hallucinating. I don't think he's hallucinating the whole game. It might just be in, that moment where he kind of thinks about Skullface, and because he's thinking about it, we can't, see his thoughts as the player. So, I mean, Skullface being in that scene, if he's not physically there, is just kind of the manifestation of Big Boss's thoughts. At least that's my take.
That's really interesting. I like that a lot. I think you did right about this a mirror thing, and I like what you said about Big Boss starting to recognize that too. He's not an idiot. But him starting to realize there's this seeming monster out there who's actually quite like him or has similar goals as him. Yeah, that's a really cool way of looking at it. Thanks.
You're welcome. It's what I'm here for. I mean, it's interesting with the whole mirror thing is that it looks like, we can't say anything for sure that Skullface is going to use Metal Gear. At least that's the way I kind of took it when he said, with this, I'll rid the world of infestation. He was talking about Metal Gear to kind of further his own goals about what he thinks is best for the world. He's going to use this weapon of destruction to do what he believes will fix the world. And of course, in Metal Gear, that's exactly what Big Boss is doing. He's using a weapon of mass destruction to kind of fix the world in his eyes. And so I think...
while previously it was, just a deterrent, it was their safeguard, it was their backup. And yet we know that at some point he does change his mind about that.
And that's really when I've said before, there's 2 things that I really want to see out of Phantom Pain. The first was a face-to-face confrontation with Zero, or at least hear Zero's thoughts on Big Boss and vice versa, which it looks like we are going to get from the new trailer, which is
fantastic.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
It was, that's groundbreaking, because, the whole series, that kind of conflict's been in the background.
I do like that, and I know I've said a few times before, I like the idea of Zero just being a shadow, not being there, and that's what he did. He disappeared off the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of liked that, how he wasn't really in Peace Walker, and he wasn't really in Metal Gear Solid 4 either, for obvious reasons. But it's never been a thing. So I was happy with that. I liked it. It's a cool idea, but I'm not even going to remotely pretend that I'm not super psyched about Zero popping up, because he's a great character in Snake Eater.
Oh, for sure. I'm disappointed we don't get the original voice actor. I don't think it's David Bowie, but whoever is.
I don't, but I refuse to give up hope.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not going to pretend I'm not, it better not be David Bowie. That would be fucking stupid. No, I hope every time that David Bowie, even if he's not Zero, will be in this game in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But, that's just... Yeah, you never know. You never know. I'm not going to say no for sure. I don't really buy into it. But yeah, the other thing I wanted out of Phantom Pain was to really see Big Boss become Big Boss, the villain. By the end of the game, I want it. And it's going to sound fucked up. I want to be able to kill children in the game. And that sounds so messed up.
I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, I, Ephraim Scufflegate, would love to murder children.
I would like to play a game where that is a thing that happens to this character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. I want to see him be the Darth Vader of the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Yeah. I'm all over the place on that, because he obviously regrets what he did, and that obviously means it was a very conscious choice. So it's people. The conversation always comes up about, oh, has he gone evil, or is it a matter of perspective, or is he an anti-hero? I think all those things don't really matter, and I think pointing back to Breaking Bad is a really good, really good comparison, because it's about choosing to be evil. It's about doing something anyway. Like, I'm not doing it despite it being bad. I'm doing it because this is what I want, and being bad doesn't really enter the question. He's making a conscious choice to, let's say, we're talking before, use a weapon of mass destruction to achieve what he wants. I don't suspect we will ever really see him in the game as being evil. I think it'll be one of those things that sneaks up on you.
I agree.
And you go, oh, I had to do this, or I had to do that. Oh, and I had to nuke those guys because this was happening, and I needed to torture all these people. I had to mow down those child soldiers. That's just a massive issue that I needed to solve, and I'm doing all these things, and then I think it's one of those things that will sneak up on you, and you go, well, I was doing the right thing, and then you go, oh.
And thank you for that, because that basically perfectly embodies, like, yeah, I do want, when I say Darth Vader, I don't necessarily, because I mean, in the original series, you know, before you got the prequels of Star Wars in there, Darth Vader was a cookie board cutout evil villain until the end of Return of the Jedi. And, you know, that's not necessarily what I want. I think you hit the nail on the head with Breaking Bad. A lot of people have brought it up. I've brought it up. I know Drunk Solid Snakes brought it up. Not only do I kind of want to see the gradual change that Walter White went through, but, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with they're doing it because of the situation. They're always reacting. It's not like Walter White or Heisenberg, or whatever you want to call him, just woke up in the morning and I'm an evil shitbag now. And
Well, I don't know. I don't want to start a conversation about Breaking Bad. I think he did. One day he decided, that's it, I'm going down this road. And it took him a while to realize what that meant and what he was capable of. But I think it's the first episode. That's him Breaking Bad. He had a point. He goes, I am going to do this now because this is what I want.
And I do think that Metal Gear Solid will do that. Not necessarily, you know, like a snap of the finger, but I do want, because I mean, I think I actually do agree with you in retrospect on Walter White kind of in the first episode deciding he's going to go down this path. But
Yeah.
I do want to see it increase in intensity like it did with Breaking Bad, because I mean, even the first
Absolutely.
episodes. Oh yeah, because I mean, he was when he was thinking about killing. I can't remember. I think it was Crazy 8. He was writing down all of the reasons, you know, why I shouldn't kill.
That's right.
Why I should kill this person. And then by, you know, plug your ears for a moment if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, which you're an idiot for not doing so. At the end, he's just like slaughtering people left and right, and like doing all like these mass murders. That's what I want to see out of Metal Gear Solid. Is you start out the game like with a little bit farther down the road than Peace Walker Big Boss. He's kind of messed up, but you know you kind of wonder about him. And then by the end of the game, he's murdering children and yada yada yada.
Yeah, on that point, we hear that it's all about revenge. And I think the assumption is that we're still talking about the mother base attack. I may be in the minority, but I think there's something more. Like, it's a weird thing to want to get revenge for after 9 years. Maybe, I mean, you want to get revenge for being put in a coma. That's probably pretty big. But I have this feeling the game is going to propel us somewhere at the beginning as well. I don't know what that might be, but it seems a pretty ice-cold thing to do, to wake up and the world's completely different and go, okay, I'm going to take this guy down. Yeah, maybe. Just idle thoughts, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, because, I mean, it's not that it's, I mean, of course, if someone, like, blew up my base and comrades, I'd want to, you know, get back at them for it, but with how much revenge is fueling Big Boss and Kaz, specifically Kaz, from what we see in the trailers anyways, it seems, you know, the mother base attack would, you know, require retaliation and you'd be really angry, but with how much the revenge is poisoning the characters and leading them down this road, I think you're right that the mother base attack seems, you know, almost insignificant in, you know, relation to how driven they are for this revenge.
Yeah, it's definitely the setup to something. I'm tying that in now with that Skullface talking about the chain of retaliation. He wants Big Boss to go after someone and get revenge on that attack. And who knows if he owns up to it or whatever. But it's just starting that cycle, going, yeah, you got to get him back for that. And then, well, the series has talked about that before, how that conflict generates conflict. It creates a change which generates more conflict. So that seems to be what Skullface is playing at, but we haven't got a lot to play with there.
Do you think that Big Boss and Kaz are going to know that Skullface... I mean, it looks like they're obviously going to have a face-to-face meeting. Do you think that they're going to know basically right off the bat that he was behind it?
No comment?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
No, not because of that.
Oh, you already know.
No, but I listened to a tape when I was playing it, and there's nothing big in there, but the subject of it, I will just not comment.
Oh, wow.
So I can't.
They had like tapes and stuff in there already.
Yeah, they did. That was really cool. I can't say yes or no, but I can't discuss it. So, as in, I can't decide yes or no, but I won't. I'll just leave that alone.
Oh yeah, we don't want to get you sued.
No, that would suck.
Yeah, that would suck like a lot.
All my bloody collector's edition funds would be going into lawyers, and before you know it, you're living in an offshore oil rig, and everything just goes to hell. Yeah.
Offshore oil rig. Gotta get some mercenaries together. Yada yada yada. We all know where.
Oh, speaking of offshore oil rigs, just thought I'd put a little promotion in here. There's a few guys on the subreddit working on translating the making of Nuclear. The Nuclear trailer. There seems to be a Japanese video of it, so there's a few guys getting together and can translate that and hopefully put it out for everybody. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm actually really looking forward to that. And there's the line chat, which is another thing we should mention for sure. Put that together. It's I've been on it. You've been on it. A lot of the users have been on it. I've seen Brady and again, hope I'm not butchering your name too bad. But, a lot of people are on there. It's a whole lot of fun. And I think Hetchup is also heading up the translation, right?
Yeah, I think he's doing the primary work, and there's a couple of other guys, Japanese speakers as well, who are helping out. So it's all a bit of a multi-stage process. We get the text down, get the timestamps down, and then start doing some video work. So, yeah, it should be good.
Definitely. Speaking of, making of stuff, I think... besides the ARM, I mean, let's be real, I think we're all going apeshit over the ARM for the collector's edition, but the making of Blu-ray, I am shitting my pants over with excitement, because I actually got the document of Metal Gear Solid 2 just about a month and a half.
Which is fantastic.
Oh,
yeah, that's really cool.
I had so much fun with it. There's the models and, the in-depth analysis and the behind-the-scenes stuff. I was blown away, and I kind of think that's kind of going to be in the same vein as the Phantom Pain thing is, or at least I hope.
You think so?
I hope it's like documentary or a document of Metal Gear Solid 2 with.
Yeah, that was interesting. I always felt like the document was partially related to the whole information thing, like the way they marketed the game and stuff, and then you can actually get I'm using air quotes here, the real deal, the scope on all the stuff that's going on, and explore the models, explore everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's always been a half thought that I've had that is possibly related to that. But either way, it's badass, and I would love another one.
Oh yeah, if you got a PS2 laying around, that is kind of the kicker. It will only play on a PS2. But if you have one laying around, I highly recommend Document of Metal Gear Solid 2. I didn't really know what I was getting into when I bought it. I was just kind of expanding my collection. I saw it pop up on eBay, nabbed it, like I said, a month and a half ago. But I still pop it in every week.
I got it on launch. I was very lucky.
Oh, nice.
And then I got robbed on my 21st birthday, and my PS2 collection got taken. But a friend for my birthday this year gave me his copy as a launch PAL copy of Metal Gear Solid 2, and it's got documents in it again. So I'm a very lucky boy.
Nice, that's awesome. I didn't even know if it was. I'm trying to look over here. See if it says the region on it. I think I actually got a PAL version of it, so I'm surprised it works on my PS2, but I'm just kind of
going with it. Sweet ass.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Right, so we kind of just blurred from E3 experience into trailer discussion. General hype. We certainly did general hype.
Yeah, I think that about covers it. It's getting pretty late for me over here too. So I should.
All right, I got dinner to cook. So hey, this is really good. Thanks to everybody who's been listening or is about to listen, and tune in next week.
Yeah.
Next week. Are we doing it weekly?
I would like to do it around weekly. I know my schedule's like all over the place, as you've seen, and that changes. What I sent you is by no means my usual schedule, but yeah, I think we can pull this off weekly.
Yep, I'll aim for weekly. This has been fun.
Oh, before we go, I forgot to mention some
yes.
of the best parts of the podcast. I kind of glazed over at the beginning. After we kind of get our foot in another couple, I know, right? After we do another episode or two, we'll do this live. We recorded this on Google Hangouts. People can join as audience members, watch us live. Basically, it's just us talking to computer screens. But if you wanted to, interact with us towards the end, we'll do like a Q&A. It allows us a Q&A so people can interact with us live, ask us for any questions or anything. I think we talked about making a sticky when we were on air on the sub for when we're actually like live doing it. And
absolutely, yep. We're also going to try and get a bit more community stuff in the sidebar. There's still sidebar issues to work out, but hopefully, there's lots of people doing podcasts, people making content. I wouldn't mind getting that up there as well. So that's a good place to keep an eye out, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. There's been so much content coming out, and I've loved that people are getting like really on board with kind of, making the sub like our own thing with our own content, and it's just been thrilling to read. It's been a blast. Oh, and speaking of the community, we'll get some people on here from time to time, talk about a topic of their choosing.
Absolutely. Be fantastic.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you later.
Cheers, everyone. Catch you around. Thanks, Scuff.
Thank you.